Hi, guys. This is Sarah May Bates for Help Me Be Me. And today I am doing an episode called The Mirror of Completeness. It's about a breakup loss. If you move through a breakup and you are in or even like a short-term relationship that wasn't like a real big one, if you are feeling like a lingering attachment to that person, even though you know you broke up for a very smart reason, like it was clearly not a good relationship, but there's something in you that can't really let go and you don't know what that is. This is kind of for you. And I think it's really hard to let go of a feeling of being complete or a feeling of being safe and seen. And I think that's partly because breakups are losses of stability, a feeling of stability, and a feeling that we are not alone in the world. And by stability, I mean just like having a person. I don't mean like that the person made you more stable. I just mean it makes us feel bigger than just ourselves to be attached to another person. And having a person that we call our partner just makes us feel a little bit more substantial oftentimes. And a loss of the the relationship is part of it, but the other loss is a concept of being in a relationship and not the reality of it. So, one thing I talk about a lot with my clients is that we have to kind of reconcile the loss of whatever that concept is to us, whatever we wanted it to be, whatever we wished it would become, whatever we were trying to make it become, and that dream, that vision that we had of what this means in our life. And the other thing we have to move through is accepting the reality of who the person was and separating that from all of those other feelings. There are real inevitable reasons that we chose to get out of a relationship and that we recognize this is not sustainable. This is not what will work for me. And we really witness the truth of the other person and why it was not enough or it was legitimately too terrible to survive any longer. So those are two separate things that we kind of have to process, but they can get really muddy in our emotional memory of it. So that's what this episode is about, negotiating the two versions of a relationship and the two losses that we are enduring via ending a relationship. The loss of the idea and then the mirror we saw to ourselves. The relationship itself will act as kind of a beauty light, a glamour light to our identity in some ways. It gives us a version of ourselves that we can kind of bask in and enjoy. And so losing that is part of what we mourn and we feel the wake of. I think mourning will oftentimes go in starts and stops and backwards and forwards and sometimes our feelings don't really have a clear source to us, and we can get kind of confused by them, and we think all of this is coming from that person, when in reality, it's a lot of old losses coming up at the same time, and also a lot of feelings about just ourselves that kind of get mixed into it. So it can make closure difficult. With that, there are three parts to this episode: the what, the why, and the how, the tools. Part one, the what. The loss of self that comes with any relationship end. And the loss is often what we see as a version of our dream life. Like it's some idea that we get really comfortable in of ourselves and our life. It's not really that person and who they are. It's more this idea or vision of what a situation means for us. And the loss of that view of our lives, I think is probably one of the hardest things to let go of. The routine, the comfort, the safety, the definition, and also letting go of the way a person made us feel. And maybe that person only made you feel that way for us, like moments or spurts throughout the relationship, but it can feel so uh, intoxicating. It can feel like such a giant, you know, like like being on a right before you have surgery, you get the good drugs on the IV. Like it can be such a pain reliever to be seen, and it can feel so just you get hooked on it. You're like, I just want that feeling one more time. When somebody really makes you feel seen and known and mirrors back to you all the things you've wanted to be validated for your entire life. It's like if you get little glimpses of that in a relationship, that is probably what most people hang on for more of. We just think if I just try hard enough, I'll get that feeling again. That person will give me that validation again. That person will mirror back to me the self I want to know so badly. And if you have experienced that drug with that person, it it will be one of those things that you'll make do with crumbs for a long period of time just to get a tiny bit of it again. So if you can't stop thinking about someone, even if the relationship was absolutely not right, that might be a part of the reason why. And what I'm hoping to give you in the tool section is just some processing tools and possibly the beginnings of getting to a place of not needing that type of relationship in the future. Part two, the why. Well, in general, like when we meet somebody, a large portion of what we're experiencing is our projection. We're filling in the gaps of, because they're a stranger essentially. When you first meet somebody, it's like you're projecting onto them who you think they are, but then they will show you over a long period of time through their actions who they are in reality. And usually people break up around like the 1.5 year mark because that's when the reality has been confirmed just through enough time. So you'll be like, oh, you're not who I thought you were around 1.5 years. So when we are constantly projecting onto somebody, we are seeing an idealized version of their personality regardless. And oftentimes, depending on the type of person you're with, they will be, if they are a person who is good at pitching, so to speak. Like I think a lot of people are excellent at at winning over a person, and that is all that they're really good at. People who have narcissistic traits, for example, are really good at making a person feel completely seen and validated. And they know how to like press all the right buttons. And so that could be another factor in this relationship. You might have been with a person who was an expert at designing, the feeling in you. And a lot of people usually ask me, does that mean it's not real? Does that mean that that person, that love that I felt was not true? You experienced a complete version of reality. Your experiences are valid. That person might not be the person that you thought they were, but it doesn't mean that your experiences don't have validity. It's just about making a correct decision from this point of awareness right now. I think most of the time when we get really hooked on a relationship, it's because it gave us relief in an area of our avoid. It's like having a painkiller in an area that was very, very, sensitive or exposed. And when a person makes us feel safe in that area, it's like we rely on it, instead of filling that void ourselves, we rely on the other person to fill it. Also, if you are a person who is working on yourselves currently and you're going through like processing of old stuff, if you're in therapy, it is really helpful. It can be really helpful just to be in a relationship. It can feel like an incubator of sorts when you are feeling like untethered or going through roller coasters emotionally. It just abates, that added pain that can come from loneliness or consistency in our life. And so I think it's especially difficult to get out of relationships or leave relationships, even really bad ones, if you are a person who has old trauma, abandonment issues, if you were a young caregiver. It's like we are constantly in a process of trying to make it okay, trying to fix everything. And so it will feel counter to our instincts to say goodbye to a relationship. But I can't hurt them. But I can't say goodbye. I got to save them. It's like that's what our little inner child is like desperate to, cling to. We're still trying to solve that original problem of childhood. If I try hard enough, it will be okay. That's the kind of mode of operation. And so the feeling of loss is like it triggers all of this old threat, all of the old threat feelings in our body. It's like this very familiar feeling of like, I gotta fix it, I gotta fix it. So to be the perpetrator of the loss and the change feels wrong to us. Feels like, but I shouldn't do that. That's wrong. That's scary. That's dangerous. The other thing that makes it very difficult to move out of relationship or let go of relationship is a lack of trust in self or a lack of self-love. Feeling that something is broken in us, something in us is missing, that we need something outside of us or someone outside of us to fix us or fill a void. That is, for whatever it's worth, if that feels true for you, that is like a common stage. I would call it like it's a cyclical thing to move through in our life as adults. And I find that it happens when I get overly identified with ego. So if you're overly in an ego-driven mindset, meaning full career, I gotta win, I gotta make money, I gotta be successful, I gotta be perfect, whatever those like thoughts are, if you get so wrapped up in those striving goals, you start to lose track and abandon kind of inner self and like holistic peace, happiness, balance, all of that stuff. And so what will happen is you'll end up in a stage of feeling empty. Like, why is this not fixing me? Why are all these things not filling the void? Why am I feeling unfulfilled? Like I have nothing. I have all this money now. Why does it do nothing for me? If you have noticed that you've hit that stage, all that it is in your adult cycle of life, if this is not trauma based, is a reckoning of needing to turn inward, of a need to rebuild from the ground up that calm, trusting, loving relationship with you, with like baby you, inner you. What does it mean to be a friend to you? What have you been neglecting in you? And really, it's just a signal. I've gotten too far in my ego. I need to return to self. I need to go inward. I need to build love from an internal friendship perspective. And I think a lot of that comes into play when we're just kicking ass, to be honest. It'll be like something you just forget. You'll just get in this process of just going through the motions and you'll get so like high on yourself. And I don't know, it'll happen throughout your adult life. Separate from that, if you are a person who can't let go of a relationship because you really felt like quenched by them in some way, even if you knew that the person was not right for you, that's just a little invitation. It's a signal that you have some unhealed wounds from childhood. And I think when a person's attention gives us relief, it's because it's just pointing to an area where we have a lack of belief in ourselves. And I always look at that as like what do I need to solve in myself? Like, what do I need to give to myself? That whatever that person you need from that other person is the exact prescription for what you need to give to yourself. So really look at that as like something to turn inward onto you. And outside of that, what often we are really struggling to let go of is a feeling about ourselves. Like we got to feel good about ourselves for one. It's not about like that person necessarily. So when we feel like occupied by somebody, I'm just going to describe codependency and like how that looks in a relationship. When we get to feel like we could just put ourselves on the back burner and just look at somebody else and be obsessed with somebody else and solve their problems and focus on what's wrong with them and help them make their life better, it can be a relief because life is hard. And like a lot of the times, if we haven't spent time with ourselves, like haven't really built up who we are and built up our ego and like built up habits and hobbies and passions and likes and invested time with us, getting to know us, we might not have a clue who we are. We might not feel like we have a self at all. So in a relationship, that feeling of emptiness is abated because we have a project. We have somebody that we're going to focus on and we're going to help them. We're going to support them. We're going to see our efforts manifested in something that we are able to be proud of outside of ourselves. As soon as it's about you, it is intense. It's like confrontational. It can feel like a lot of stress. It can feel like, but I'm not enough. I have nothing to get. I'm nothing. I have nothing. If that feels true, that is also a great and perfect starting point to build a self. There is no age that it is too late to build a self. It just starts in a way that feels like it's not doing anything. It'll feel like, I guess this is fun. I guess I'm feeling like participating in this in a positive way. It'll feel like it's not doing shit, but it's just about going through the motions and setting a goal. It's about setting a goal to build a self, to love a self, and then going through the motions and still until the putty starts to make a sculpture. It's like it's a little bit at a time. It takes time. And know that when you do find the right person, it'll be because they can recognize the full and developed self that you are, and you will both arrive fully completed and give gifts to one another, mutual gifts to one another. That's the ideal way to meet a partner. So, with all of that, let's get to part three, the how, the tools. But first, a brief word from our sponsors. Okay, part three, the how, the tools. The first tool is a journal exercise. I'm calling it pain piles. As I mentioned earlier, when you go through a breakup, it is a layering of things you are mourning. There are all sorts of pieces that are kind of, they get blurred together, but we can process them as individual topics and just kind of see what comes up, see what material comes up from just processing, asking yourself questions in your journal. So here are a couple of prompts. Let's divide this pain into individual piles, like you would, pile up wood and burn them in smaller piles versus a bonfire. So I want to ask you, what people and what losses am I mourning? Like, what are the various forms of loss that you're experiencing? One might be the idea of the person that you thought you met. Like, if that person didn't end up being the person you thought, the first person you met and fell in love with might have been amazing. That's a huge thing to let go of and to be sad that they don't exist and to really like say goodbye as if it was a death, as if you lost that person in death. Another thing you might be losing, safety, safety routine. That's a big one, is the feeling of having a routine that feels healing to you. The routine of being committed. I have someone. So unpack ideas around being single, any of those ideas that come up for you. The fear will be different than the actual experience you will go through in your future. Just know that. Like any fear or projections you might have at this stage, the experience of moving through your life will be completely different and new. But I just want you to like brain dump, like, what does it mean to you to be now single and to not have someone? Another one that's a big one, a loss of identity. Like I was process out, what was the vision of yourself that you lost? The person that you were in their eyes, the person that you felt like to your friends, for example. Even even if the person was terrible, like they might have made you feel like so special and so perfect. Like really just describe, what are you losing in your own feeling around yourself. You might have lost also a an idea of a life, of a future. I invite you to journal around that. What was the story you were telling to yourself about what could be? What was the hope you had that you're letting go of? And then also, any definitions you have around breakups or loss. For a lot of people, it is a violation of self, of safety, to voluntarily say goodbye. It feels wrong. It feels dangerous. It feels scary. I invite you to marinate on that one. And anything else, and any other layer you have to this processing. All right, the next tool, shoveling gravel into the foundation. When we have a void inside that makes us feel empty and lonely, it is something that we tend to try and chase in somebody else or fill with substances or, things that aren't good for us. And I know this sounds really lame. I would hate hearing this. I used to hate hearing this, but we have to be the one to fill that void with our own deliberate, conscious, repetitive attention and our intention. And one way to jumpstart that is by we're going to shovel gravel into that foundation. We're going to start to feed our inner self in a single, small, but visible and consistent way. A building up of the foundation in just pride, confidence, trust in self, in self-love. So what I'm asking you to do is one new habit consistently that is kind to you. Mine right now, I am doing this process right now. One is 5 to 10 minutes of yoga a day. For me, yoga was representative of something that was really healing and comforting in my like major therapy period. And now I'm just, as a gesture to me, I'm doing 5 to 10 minutes of yoga every day because it is something that is just for me. That's what the gesture means. And so this is one step in the direction of building up the loving relationship with you. Like, hey friend, I know we haven't hung out in a bit. I know I've been kind of neglecting you, but like I love you. That's what I want the gesture to be about. So it's about being an honest supporter and friend to yourself. Add one thing every day, whatever it is, or every other day, whatever makes sense for you. The next tool, don't freak out. It's a closure ceremony. If this is right for you, if you are in, a stage of letting go of a relationship, our psyche, our self loves ritual because it is something that we can feel externalized. It's like not floating around in here in chaos. It's something that's like actual and physical. If you haven't done one yet, perform a closure ceremony. And really what that signals to you is I now choose to move on with my life. I am done being sad and lingering here. I'm soldering up the wound and I'm choosing to move on. So, what a ceremony might look like is I'm going to get the fire pit out. I'm going to get my barbecue out. I'm going to like find a picture of the person. I'm going to get something that was a memento of ours. I'm going to burn it under the moonlight and I'm going to say goodbye and then I'm going to blow out a candle or something like that and make it up. That's what I did, by the way. But it's really important to just formalize a conscious choice in your life to have a new chapter and to say, I'm done being sad. I'm done being occupied. I'm now choosing to heal and actualize change in my life. And that is profound, just the act itself. If you don't feel like it makes any difference, still do it. Still do it. All right, the next tool. I'm totally going to mispronounce this and then I'll Google it after this and I'll feel embarrassed. Ho'oponopono. It is a long Hawaiian word and it is a prayer, a closure prayer, or sorry, I'm going to call it a closure prayer. It's like a way to get peace with somebody and closure if you are not in contact with them. And I use this prayer all the time because it actualizes love and forgiveness. I think it's a forgiveness prayer. But what you do is you visualize the person, whoever it is. This is if you were in a relationship, you were not able to get a good closure, if it ended on bad terms, if you're ghosted, any of those situations. You don't have to live in that stage of guilt and longing anymore. You can actually apologize or do whatever you need to do to cut those strings and say goodbye and move on. So in your mind's eye, I want you to picture the person and what you say while picturing them and mean it in your body. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And if any of those words seem wrong to you and they don't feel like aligned with what you should be saying, like if this person abused you, I don't want you to be like, I love you. Just, you can appropriate it however you like. But it is amazing how well this works if you actually just tune into it and mean it. separate. By the way, I've gone full new age. I don't know if you started listening to this the beginning of this show, but like I was like dipping a toe into some stuff and I was like, I don't know, I believe in the universe. Now I'm like all of it. All of it. So this next prayer I fully use and it works and it's amazing. Um at night, especially if you are a person that has like tethers to other people's energy and you find that you're constantly worried about them, you feel guilty around them, you're constantly occupied by their expectations. If you feel like you are afraid of what they will think about you, if you feel like they have control over you, those types of things, the prayer is basically to when you're right about to fall asleep. I'm going to call it light strings prayer. Visualize your whole body surrounded with light, and then imagine there are scissors that are just snipping away all of these little tethers of light that are attached to you that are not yours. All of the feelings, all of the tethers that don't belong to you. Just do a visualization of them all being snipped away and say, I surround myself with love and light. I return all energy that does not belong to me to its rightful owner with love. I protect myself with love and light. Whatever version of that sounds good to you. I do this whenever I feel occupied by somebody else, whenever I feel like my brain is being nagged by the expectations of another person. Very healing and just a way to let it go. All right, the next tool, the Holy Grail of Health. This is just a frame for you to hold on to for whenever it becomes relevant. When we can move through life, processing things real time and what they mean as soon as they arrive. Like if a person in your life shows up and you can tell, oh, this person has issues that are unsolved and they are not for me to fix. This person is not going to uplift me and make me healthier. This person is going to pull me down. As soon as you can recognize that in real time and move on in real time, send them love, move on, the more your life will reflect health to you because we're no longer like taking 2 hour, 2 year long detours. We're respecting what is true as it occurs. And so the goal is to acknowledge factors and mourn them as they arrive, as they present themselves. Confront them, welcome them, mourn them as they arrive real time. Don't try and hide them, rationalize them, ignore them, or put them off. If you can move through them as they occur, this is how we remain in a state of growth toward what will actually reward us and make us the healthiest and the happiest. Another aspirational tool or frame, center of gravity. It's really easy to get pulled into other spheres and systems. And so I want you to visualize when you're feeling that pull of like intoxication, like I want to be enmeshed with somebody. I want to like dive into them. Really try and center your weight over your own 2 feet, even if that means forcing it. And by that I mean like really embodying and rehearsing your energy of what makes you special, of your origin, of your energetic home. Like don't let it get poured into the other person or the like job expectations or whatever it is, like really keep it rooted. And that might mean that you're doing things that often feel artificial, like your heart isn't in them, like being, at a function with your friends because you have to stay tethered to your friends. Even if your body is like, very intoxicated by the relationship and like you just want to be with that person only. It's like you really have to make sure you are staying rooted in your life and being at functions that remind you of yourself. We have to keep that focus and that energy and that definition consistent around what it means to be us, around what it means to be embodied, especially if we are kind of being pulled into a powerful, all-consuming relationship. It's like keep an awareness of that and maintain your center of gravity. If you notice it's out of whack, try and reset it. All right, the next tool, the friend who sides with you. That's just my definition of what it means to be a healthy person. You are the friend who sides with you. And that means like respecting your own integrity, like always being able to own up to stuff and like keeping that house clean. You know what I mean? Like the intention at all times to be a friend to you is such an important factor. It's like as you move through life, you'll fall sometimes, you'll be tested sometimes, you will be less than perfect sometimes. And what is most important is like I'm gonna come back to me and feel proud of me for trying. Life is a constant balancing act. It's like a movement flow process. Like think of it like a ballerina dancing in circles and then leaping. And it's never solved. It's always this expression of our own love, energy, and intention. So if you can really think about this as like, what is my truest intention? How do I fine tune that at any given time? We are like these radio towers of energy, and our intention is literally what creates our outward expression. It's like, where is it coming from? So if you start to get off channel, if you start to be like mad at you and mean to you, and in that, like the first thing I want you to do is condition it. Come back to that position of how do I be a friend to me? I'm going to recommend a book in the show notes that I'm reading that I love so far that was recommended to me by a client. Thank you. But this is a tool that's really echoing set a goal and really mean it. I want to love me. I want to befriend me. I want to be good to me. And I choose to heal. I choose to be whole. And just if you want to write that down in your journal, I recommend it. Like just really set that goal to love yourself unconditionally. All right. The next tool, I'm here to do a job, not get a job. This is a Bryan Cranston quote from an interview on Fly on the Wall. So that was him talking about the way he auditions because he shows up as I'm here to deliver a fully rendered product that is myself. I am the product. And I am not here to like earn you and like do what you want. I'm here to show off, do you want to buy this product or not? So this is exactly how you can think of your own embodiment as you enter into a relationship or try out new relationships. It's not as like, intoxicating as the need-based relationships, but it's a healthy way to enter a relationship. Imagine that the goal for anyone new you meet is just to show up as a whole, complete, embodied product that is this shiny self, giving gifts and showing off like this is what being with a person like me is like. You're showing up to be you. You're not showing up to accommodate someone else and make them solved or fixed or be liked by them or be fixed by them. The shininess of an embodiment of you is what is the most attractive and enchanting and really like the bonus level of being with a partner. It's like you want two awesome shiny things that like can be double that when they're put together. So really as you date, just remember, I'm bringing this energy of embodiment and worth. That is my goal. How do I show up in full embodiment and worth? It's really easy to just start to go into that, like, what do you want me to be? And like, what do you like? And then as soon as you do that, you've lost the game. As soon as you do that, you've lost yourself. So just keep the center of your being and your energy fully embodied and thinking about who you truly are and what makes you show up as that self the best. All right, the next tool, shadow is the child who knows what to do. This is a reference to a fairy tale. Tatterhood is the name of the fairy tale. You can Google it, but it's in a nutshell, it's like two children are born to a woman, one that embodies beauty and obedience, and the other embodies darkness and wildness, kind of ish. And my interpretation is that they are two halves of the same whole of an individual. And so one is, the external accepted self, and the other is like shadow self, or the parts of ourself that we have suppressed and called bad. And really what that is, like two parts of our psyche, one part we favor, one part we hide away. When shit hits the fan and when life gets hard, the shadow self is the child that knows what to do, who knows how to like put things back together, who knows how to manage things and knows how to solve and take care of you. So what I'm trying to say is all of the parts of yourself that you might have rejected or feel ashamed by, know that that is the part of you that is the strongest and the most evolved. The person who's been through the hard stuff, who is complicated, that is the strongest part of you. It's not the like perfect obedient self. It's the self that's like, I've been through some shit. So know that if you are feeling like really clingy to someone or like I'm nothing without this person, that is dysregulation talking. And you do have more tools because of what you have endured. And right now you just have to get back to the basics. First things first, how do I come home to the routine of self-care? How do I build from the ground up? All right. The last tool I have for you is a journal exercise. It's called Origins of Home. I want you to journal about what your favorite and most pure, simple, happy times were when you were a kid. What were the times you felt most at peace, most at home, fully present with your caregivers? Whatever they are, maybe they weren't with your caregivers, but look, whatever they are, those were like your moments of church, so to speak. They were the kind of moments of really being present and fully in ownership of self and a being on the planet in a perfect moment in life. So I just want you to revisit them and try and recreate one of them for yourself in your life right now. Like these are really profound and fun meditations to move through as an adult. For me, there are things like there's a beach that had really fine sand, and we would throw fists of it in the air and make a wish. That would be one. Like they're talking. I'm talking like real innocent, pure, sweet times. Maybe lying on pavement when it's really warm. Whatever they are, just think back. Moments that you felt like very simple, pure joy. So that is the show. I hope this is helpful to you. Before I close, I want to thank all of my sponsors. Thank you so much. You really, really do help out to make the show possible. Anyone who has the means, you can donate on yaywithme.com or on Patreon. And if you don't have the means, I completely understand it. If you could share this with someone who could help, that helps me as well. In closing, there was a passage from a poem, Rainer Maria Rilke. It's called The Man Watching. The passage was, winning does not tempt man, that man. It's the middle of a long, long poem. Winning does not tempt that man. Being defeated decisively by constantly greater beings is it's something. Oh my God, I'm totally butchering this poem. Then the takeaway from the poem is the person who is the strongest is the person who is not aimed at winning. Their goal is to be defeated by constantly greater beings. And that hits me in such a profound way because it's true. It's like if you're really going to be a strong person who is growing, it's not about just doing what you're doing well. It's about constantly going to a greater and greater place. You're always going to be in a stage of I'm a beginner again. It's not going to feel like you've moved anywhere, but like if you look back, holy shit, you become such a big and amazing person through living your life that way. And so what I'm saying is like move through the hard stuff with the intention for growth. And know that we move through friction on a cycle. And the aim of that friction is just growth. It's how we resume a greater height constantly. And just by honoring and trusting ourselves in the face of whatever perceived traumatic event, like our loss of a relationship or this personal challenge, when you hit that moment of emptiness and dissatisfaction, like I need something to feel whole, I need something to fix me. What is really happening at that stage, being made possible by this experience, is that reset of new growth, of ego death. And what I'm inviting you to do at this crossroads is take it as a moment to look inwards and really just foster balance in self, tune in and ask not what my brain needs, but what does my body need? How can I be a friend to myself? How can I connect with love to others that I hold dear? Not the ex, but And how can I be a kind friend to me? Healing happens through small, conscious, repetitive actions. Letting go of like a cure to our life as something external that we have to chase, but like really just small, deliberate, special actions. How can I foster that friendship? What what has been neglected in me that feels like something that it could be a gesture to inner me? I send you my love and smile.